Sometimes the person who saves you isn't a hero. They're just someone who sees you when you've forgotten how to see yourself. The rain was coming down hard that Tuesday night when she knocked on his door. It was almost 3 a.m, and most people in the building were fast asleep. But Alex had always been a night owl, especially during exam season when he had stacks of student papers to grade. He was sitting at a small kitchen table with a cup of tea, red pen in hand, when he heard the soft knocking. At first he thought he imagined it. Who would visit at this hour? But then it came again, more urgent this time. When he opened the door, his heart nearly stopped. There she was, Maya, his friend from college days. They had shared so many late-night conversations in the library, discussing books and dreams and everything in between. But he hadn't seen her in almost 8 months. She stood there completely soaked, her dark hair sticking to her face. A small black bag hung from her shoulder, and her clothes looked like she had grabbed whatever was closest. What struck him most were her eyes. They looked tired, really tired, like someone who hadn't slept properly in weeks. "Maya," he said, his voice full of surprise and concern. She looked up at him, and for a moment neither of them spoke. The hallway was quiet except for the sound of rain hitting the windows at the end of the corridor. "I'm sorry," she whispered finally. "I know it's late. I know I should have called first. But I had nowhere else to go." Alex didn't hesitate. He stepped aside and gestured for her to come in. "Don't be sorry. Come on, get out of those wet clothes before you catch something." His apartment wasn't big, but it felt warm and lived in. Books were scattered everywhere, on shelves on the coffee table stacked beside his reading chair. The walls had photos from their college days, mixed with artwork his students had given him over the years. The smell of chamomile tea filled the air, creating a sense of calm that Maya hadn't felt in months. She stood in the middle of his living room, dripping onto his wooden floor, looking lost. Alex quickly grabbed some towels from his bathroom and wrapped one around her shoulders. "Here, sit down," he said, guiding her to his couch. "I'll make you some tea. Or coffee, what do you need?" "Tea sounds perfect," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. While Alex moved around his small kitchen, Maya looked around the apartment. Everything was exactly how she remembered Alex. Organized but comfortable, practical but thoughtful. There was the same blue mug he always used in college, sitting by the sink. The same worn paperback copy of their favorite novel on the bookshelf. Even the way he arranged his pens in a small cup on the counter. It all felt so familiar, so safe. She found herself relaxing for the first time in weeks. The tension in her shoulders began to ease, and she realized she had been holding her breath without knowing it. Alex returned with a steaming mug, sitting down in the chair across from her. He didn't push her to explain, didn't ask a million questions. He just sat there, present and patient, the way he had always been. "This place looks exactly the same," Maya said, wrapping her hands around the warm mug. "Some things never change," Alex replied with a gentle smile. "Though I did get a new coffee maker last month. Big life changes, you know." Despite everything, Maya found herself almost smiling. That was Alex, always able to find a light moment even in heavy situations. They sat in comfortable silence for a while. The rain continued outside, but inside the apartment everything felt still and peaceful. Maya could hear the quiet tick of the clock on the kitchen wall, the soft hum of the refrigerator, and Alex turning pages as he returned to his grading. "I've been living with someone," Maya said suddenly. Alex looked up from his papers, giving her his full attention. "For 2 years now. His name is David." She paused, staring into her tea. It wasn't a bad relationship exactly. He never hurt me physically or anything like that. But somehow I started disappearing. Little by little I became smaller and smaller until I couldn't recognize myself anymore. Alex set down his pen completely now, listening carefully. "He had opinions about everything," she continued. "My clothes, my friends, my dreams, even the way I laughed. At first I thought he was trying to help me become better. But then I realized he was trying to make me into someone completely different, someone who fit his idea of perfect." The apartment felt even quieter now. Maya could feel Alex's attention, warm and non-judgmental, encouraging her to continue. "I used to paint, remember? I had all these canvases and brushes, and I would spend hours creating these little worlds on paper. But David said it was messy, said it was taking up too much space in our apartment, said I wasn't good enough to make it a real career anyway. Her voice grew smaller, so I stopped. I packed everything away and told myself he was probably right. I got a regular office job, wore clothes he approved of, stopped seeing friends he didn't like. I became this quiet, agreeable person who never caused any trouble. Alex felt his heart breaking for her, but he didn't interrupt. He could see she needed to get this out. But tonight something happened, Maya said, her voice getting stronger. I found my old paintings in our storage closet. I had hidden them away so well that I almost forgot about them. When I looked at them, I remembered who I used to be. Someone creative, someone brave, someone with dreams. She took a shaky breath. When David came home and saw me looking at them, he got angry. Really angry. He said I was living in the past, that I needed to accept reality. And then she paused. He took them outside and put them in the dumpster. 2 years of work, gone. The rain seemed to get heavier outside, matching the heaviness in the room. That's when I knew I had to leave, Maya said. I packed this bag while he was in the shower and just walked out. I didn't even know where I was going until I found myself on your street. Alex was quiet for a long moment, processing everything she had told him. When he finally spoke, his voice was gentle but firm. I'm glad you came here, he said. You're safe now. And for what it's worth, I always thought your paintings were amazing. Maya looked up at him, and for the first time that night there were tears in her eyes. But they weren't sad tears. They were tears of relief. Can I stay tonight? She asked. I promise I'll figure something else out tomorrow, but just for tonight. Of course, Alex said without hesitation. You can stay as long as you need. He got up and started gathering blankets and pillows from his bedroom closet. Maya watched him create a comfortable sleeping space on his couch, arranging everything with the same careful attention he gave to everything else in his life. The guest room is just my office, he explained, but this couch is actually pretty comfortable. I fall asleep on it all the time when I'm grading papers. As he handed her a soft pillow, their hands touched briefly. Maya felt something she hadn't experienced in months, a sense of being truly cared for without conditions or expectations. Alex, she said as he was about to head to his bedroom. Yeah? Thank you. For not asking 100 questions. For just letting me be here. He turned back to her, and in his eyes she saw the same kindness that had drawn her to his friendship all those years ago. That's what friends do, he said simply. Good night, Maya. Sleep well. As she settled into the makeshift bed, listening to Alex moving quietly around his bedroom, Maya felt something she hadn't felt in years. She felt like herself again, and for the first time in months she was looking forward to tomorrow. The next morning, Maya woke up to the smell of coffee and something sweet baking in the oven. For a moment she forgot where she was. The couch was softer than she remembered, and sunlight was streaming through windows that faced east instead of west like her old apartment. Then it all came back to her. The rain, the paintings in the dumpster, walking through empty streets until she found herself at Alex's door. She sat up slowly, running her fingers through her messy hair. Alex appeared in the kitchen doorway, wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans, holding a coffee mug that had "World's Okayest Teacher" written on it in faded letters. Good morning, he said with that same gentle smile from the night before. I made pancakes. Hope you're hungry. Maya couldn't remember the last time someone had made her breakfast without expecting something in return. With David, every kind gesture came with invisible strings attached. But Alex was different. He always had been. You didn't have to do that, she said, folding the blankets neatly. I wanted to, Alex replied. Besides, I always make too much food for one person anyway. They ate breakfast together at his small kitchen table, the same one where she had found him grading papers the night before. The pancakes were perfect, fluffy and warm with real maple syrup that Alex said his sister had sent from Vermont. So what's your plan for today? Alex asked, cutting his pancakes into neat squares the way he always did. Maya realized she didn't have a plan. She had been so focused on getting away from her old life that she hadn't thought about what came next. I guess I should find somewhere to stay, she said, and call my boss. I'm supposed to work tomorrow, but I don't even know if David will try to. She trailed off, not sure how to finish that sentence. Alex set down his fork. Maya, you know you can stay here as long as you need, right? I'm not saying that to be polite. I mean it. Something inside her chest loosened at his words. Are you sure? I don't want to be a burden. You could never be a burden, Alex said firmly. We're friends. Real friends. And friends take care of each other. That afternoon, Alex called in sick to work even though Maya protested that she would be fine alone. They spent the day doing ordinary things that felt extraordinary to Maya. They walked to the corner store to buy groceries. They sat in the small park near Alex's building and watched people walk their dogs. They picked up coffee from a little shop that Alex said made the best lattes in the neighborhood. It was during these simple moments that Maya began to remember who she used to be. She found herself laughing at Alex's silly jokes about his students. She pointed out interesting cloud shapes in the sky. She even suggested they buy flowers for Alex's kitchen table, just because they looked cheerful. That evening, as they were cooking dinner together, Maya started talking about her relationship with David. Not the painful parts this time, but the slow, gradual changes that had happened over 2 years. It wasn't dramatic, she explained, stirring pasta while Alex chopped vegetables. It was like someone turning down the volume on a song so slowly that you don't notice until it's almost silent. Alex nodded, understanding without judgment. At first, he would just suggest things, Maya continued. Maybe I should wear my hair down more often. Maybe I should call my friends less. Maybe I should focus on being more practical instead of wasting time on art. She paused, remembering. I thought he was looking out for me. I thought he wanted me to be successful and happy. But really, he was just making me smaller and smaller until I fit into the space he had decided I should occupy. That must have been exhausting, Alex said quietly. It was, Maya admitted. But the worst part was that I started to believe him. I started to think maybe I really was too loud, too messy, too unrealistic. Maybe my dreams really were just silly fantasies. They cooked in comfortable silence for a while, the kitchen filling with the warm smell of garlic and herbs. Maya found herself relaxing in a way she hadn't in months. There was something about being around Alex that made her feel like she could breathe deeply again. After dinner, they settled on the couch to watch a movie. Alex had suggested a comedy, something light and funny to end the day on a good note. But halfway through, Maya found her attention drifting. She was watching Alex instead. The way he laughed at the funny parts, the way he absent-mindedly played with a pen while he watched, the way he made sure she was comfortable without making a big deal about it. Alex, she said during a quiet moment in the movie. Why are you being so nice to me? He turned to look at her, surprised by the question. What do you mean? I mean, you could have turned me away last night. You could have said you were busy, that this wasn't your problem. Most people would have. Alex was quiet for a moment, considering his answer. Do you remember senior year when I got really sick with pneumonia? Maya nodded. She remembered that scary week when Alex had been in the hospital. You came to see me every single day, Alex said. You brought me books and magazines, and you would just sit there and keep me company, even though I was probably contagious and definitely not good company. Maya smiled at the memory. You were terrible company. All you did was complain about the hospital food. Exactly, Alex laughed. But you stayed anyway. And when I asked you why, you said something I've never forgotten. You said that's just what people do for each other when they care. Maya felt tears prick her eyes. So that's why, Alex continued. Because I care about you. Because you're important to me. And because everyone deserves to have someone in their corner when life gets hard. That night, as Maya settled back into her makeshift bed on the couch, she felt something shifting inside her. The scared, broken person who had arrived at Alex's door was still there, but she was getting stronger. Being around someone who saw her as valuable, who listened to her without trying to change her, who cared about her happiness without expecting anything in return. It was like water to a plant that had been dying of thirst. She pulled the soft blanket up to her chin and listened to the quiet sounds of Alex, getting ready for bed in the next room. For the first time in years, she felt truly safe. Not just physically safe, but emotionally safe. Safe to be herself. Safe to take up space. Safe to believe that maybe, just maybe, she deserved kindness. As she drifted off to sleep, Maya realized that Alex's warmth wasn't just about temperature or comfort. It was about being seen, being valued, being loved exactly as she was. And after 2 years of being told she wasn't enough, that feeling was like coming home to herself. She whispered into the darkness, so quietly she wasn't sure she said it out loud. Thank you for reminding me who I am. In the morning, she would start rebuilding her life. But tonight, she was exactly where she needed to be. 3 days had passed since that rainy night, and Maya was slowly finding her rhythm in Alex's apartment. She woke up each morning to the sound of him making coffee, and they had fallen into an easy routine of sharing breakfast before he left for work. On Thursday morning, Maya decided to do something she hadn't done in months. She wanted to cook dinner for Alex as a way to say thank you. She spent the afternoon planning a simple meal, walking to the grocery store, and carefully selecting ingredients like she used to do when cooking was something she enjoyed, instead of just another chore. When Alex came home that evening, tired from a long day of teaching, he stopped in the doorway and smiled. The apartment smelled amazing, and Maya was standing at the stove, humming quietly to herself as she stirred something in a pan. "This smells incredible," he said, setting down his bag of papers to grade. "It's nothing fancy," Maya replied, but there was a brightness in her voice that hadn't been there a few days ago. "Just pasta with that sauce my grandmother taught me to make." They ate dinner by the window, watching the sun set over the city. Maya found herself talking more freely, sharing memories from college, laughing about professors they had both loved and feared. For stretches of time, she almost forgot about the heaviness that had brought her here. It was during dessert, ice cream that Alex had brought home as a surprise, that Maya's phone buzzed with a text message. Her smile faded as she read it. "It's David," she said quietly. "He wants to talk." Alex didn't say anything, just waited for her to decide how much she wanted to share. "He says he's sorry. He says he was just frustrated about work and he didn't mean to throw away my paintings. He wants me to come home so we can work things out." Maya set the phone down on the table, but it kept buzzing with more messages. "He's saying all the right things," she continued, reading as the texts came in. "That he loves me, that he knows he made mistakes, that he'll do better." Alex watched her carefully. He could see the conflict in her face, the way she was torn between hope and fear. "What does your gut tell you?" he asked gently. Maya was quiet for a long moment. "My gut tells me that I've heard these words before. After every fight, after every time he made me feel small, he would apologize and promise to change. And for a few weeks, things would be better. But then it would start again, little by little." The phone buzzed again. This time the message was different. David was angry now, saying she was being dramatic, that she was throwing away 2 years for nothing, that she would regret leaving him. Maya's hands started shaking as she read the angry words. All the peace she had found over the past few days seemed to evaporate in an instant. Without thinking, Alex reached across the table and gently took the phone from her hands. "You don't have to read these right now," he said, turning the phone face down on the counter. "But what if he's right?" Maya asked, her voice small and scared. "What if I am being dramatic? What if I'm making a mistake?" Alex moved his chair closer to hers. "Maya, look at me." She raised her eyes to meet his. "In the 3 days you've been here, I've watched you come back to life," he said. "I've seen you laugh, really laugh, for the first time since I've known you. I've seen you cook with joy instead of obligation. I've seen you look forward to tomorrow instead of dreading it." Maya felt tears starting to form in her eyes. "That's not dramatic," Alex continued. "That's you remembering who you are when you're not constantly worried about someone else's approval." They spent the rest of the evening talking about Maya's relationship, but this time she was able to see it more clearly. She told Alex about the small ways David had controlled her daily life, checking her phone, deciding what they watched on TV, even choosing her outfits for important events. "I told myself he was just opinionated," Maya said, "but really he was training me to stop having opinions of my own." As the night grew later, Maya found herself feeling restless. The text messages from David had stirred up all her old anxieties, and she couldn't seem to settle down. "I don't think I can sleep on the couch tonight," she admitted to Alex around midnight. "Every time I close my eyes, I keep thinking about David showing up here, or about going back to that apartment, or about being alone again." Alex didn't hesitate. "Would it help if you weren't alone?" "You could sleep in my room if you want. I mean, I could take the couch and you could have the bed, or—" "No," Maya said quickly. "I don't want to kick you out of your own bed. But could I just be in the same room? I know it sounds weird, but I feel safer when you're nearby." It didn't sound weird to Alex at all. He understood completely. He made up a comfortable spot for Maya on the floor next to his bed, with extra pillows and the softest blankets he owned. As they settled in for the night, Maya curled up in her makeshift bed like she was creating a safe cocoon for herself. "Alex," she whispered in the darkness. "Yeah? Why do I feel so calm around you?" Even when everything else feels chaotic, being near you makes everything quiet in my head." Alex was quiet for a moment, thinking about his answer. "Maybe because I don't need you to be anyone other than who you are," he said finally. "You don't have to perform or pretend or worry about saying the wrong thing. You can just be Maya." She was silent for so long that Alex thought she had fallen asleep. But then she spoke again, so softly he almost missed it. "I think I forgot what that felt like," she whispered. "Being allowed to just be myself." "Well, now you're remembering," Alex said gently. Maya pulled the blanket up to her chin and felt her breathing slow down for the first time all evening. There was something about Alex's presence that made her feel anchored, like she couldn't drift away into panic or fear as long as he was there. As she finally began to drift off to sleep, she realized something important. The warmth she felt around Alex wasn't just emotional comfort. It was the warmth of being truly known and accepted. It was the warmth of friendship without conditions, care without expectations, and safety without having to earn it. For the first time since leaving David, Maya slept deeply and peacefully without nightmares or anxiety. And in the morning, when she woke up to find Alex had quietly left a cup of coffee on the nightstand beside her before going to work, she knew she had made the right choice. She was exactly where she belonged, even if she didn't fully understand what that meant yet. 2 weeks had passed since that difficult night with David's messages, and Maya was starting to build a new life. She had found a part-time job at a small art supply store downtown, surrounded by paints and brushes and canvases that reminded her daily of who she wanted to become again. The owner, Mrs. Chen, was a kind woman in her 60s who had taken one look at Maya and somehow understood that she needed more than just a job. She needed a place to heal. The store was quiet and peaceful, with large windows that let in beautiful natural light and the gentle sound of classical music playing in the background. Maya loved helping customers choose the right supplies for their projects. There was something magical about watching someone's eyes light up when they found exactly what they needed to bring their vision to life. It reminded her why she had fallen in love with art in the first place. Every evening, she would come home to Alex's apartment, because that's what it felt like now. Coming home, carrying small sketchbooks and pencils that Mrs. Chen had given her with a knowing smile. At first, Maya could barely manage simple drawings. Her hands would shake and she would second-guess every line. But gradually, as the days passed in the comfort of Alex's presence, her confidence began to return. She started with small things, the way sunlight fell across Alex's kitchen table in the afternoon, the pattern of raindrops on the window, the sleepy expression on the neighbor's cat who liked to sit on the fire escape. Alex never made a big deal about her art, but Maya noticed how he would glance over with quiet approval when she was sketching. Sometimes he would find her drawings left on the coffee table and would study them with the same attention he gave to the essays his students wrote. One Thursday evening, Maya was curled up on the couch, working on a drawing of the view from Alex's window, when she realized something had changed between them. It was subtle, like the way seasons shift so gradually you don't notice until one day you realize winter has become spring. Alex was grading papers at the kitchen table, just like that first night she had arrived. But now, instead of feeling like a guest in his space, Maya felt like she belonged there. She could predict which pen he would reach for next, knew that he would get up to make tea in exactly 10 minutes, and understood from the tilt of his head that he was reading something that made him proud of his student. "Maya?" Alex said, looking up from his papers. She replied, not taking her eyes off her drawing. "Can I ask you something?" There was something different in his tone that made her look up. "Of course." Alex set down his pen and turned to face her fully. "Are you happy here? I mean, really happy? Because I don't want you to feel like you have to stay just because you don't have anywhere else to go." Maya put down her sketchbook, surprised by the question. "Why would you ask that?" "I just want to make sure I'm not, I don't know, taking advantage of your situation somehow. You've been through so much, and I don't want you to feel trapped here either, even if it's different." Maya studied his face and saw genuine concern there, the same kindness that had drawn her to his friendship years ago. But there was something else too, something that looked almost like fear. "Alex," she said softly, moving to sit closer to him, "I need you to know something. These past few weeks with you, they've been the happiest I've been in years. Not just because you've given me a place to stay, but because you've given me space to remember who I am." She paused, searching for the right words. With David, I was always walking on eggshells, always trying to be the person he wanted me to be. But with you, I can just exist. I can be messy or sad or excited or silly, and you never make me feel like I need to be different. Alex's expression softened, but Maya could see he was still worried about something. "What is it?" she asked. "What are you really concerned about?" Alex was quiet for a long moment, running his fingers through his hair the way he always did when he was nervous. "I guess I'm worried that I'm being selfish," he admitted finally. "I love having you here, Maya. I love our morning conversations and cooking dinner together and the way you make this place feel like a real home instead of just somewhere I sleep." He looked down at his hands. "But I don't want my feelings to influence what's best for you. You should make decisions about your life based on what you need, not on what makes me happy." Maya felt something warm bloom in her chest. She had been so focused on her own healing that she hadn't fully considered what this time had meant to Alex. "What if what I need and what makes you happy are the same thing?" she asked quietly. Alex looked up at her, surprise and hope flickering across his face. "I've been thinking about getting my own place," Maya continued. "Mrs. Chen knows someone who's renting a small studio apartment across town. It's affordable, and it has good light for painting." Maya saw something that looked like disappointment flash across Alex's features, before he quickly covered it with a supportive smile. "That sounds perfect," he said. "You should go for it." "I should," Maya agreed. "But here's the thing. I don't want to." Alex's eyes met hers, confusion and hope warring in his expression. "I don't want my own place because I want to be somewhere else," Maya explained. "I want to know that I could have my own place. That I'm choosing to be here because I want to be, not because I have to be." She reached for his hand and he didn't pull away. "Alex, you've shown me what it feels like to be cared for without conditions. You've reminded me that I'm worth taking up space, that my thoughts and feelings and dreams matter. But more than that, you've shown me what it looks like when two people genuinely enjoy each other's company." Maya took a deep breath. "I think what I'm trying to say is that somewhere along the way, this stopped being about me needing a place to stay. This became about me wanting to build a life with someone who sees the best in me and brings out the best in me." The apartment was so quiet Maya could hear her own heartbeat. Alex was looking at her like he couldn't quite believe what he was hearing. "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" he asked softly. Maya smiled, feeling braver than she had in years. "I'm saying that when I whisper to myself at night that only your warmth can calm me, I'm not just talking about feeling safe anymore. I'm talking about feeling home. I'm talking about feeling love." Alex squeezed her hand gently. "Maya, are you sure? After everything you've been through, how do you know this isn't just gratitude or—" "Because," Maya interrupted, "gratitude doesn't make me want to learn all your favorite songs so I can hum them while I cook. Gratitude doesn't make me look forward to hearing about your day, or make me want to share every silly thought that crosses my mind. Gratitude doesn't make me feel like the best version of myself just by being around you." She paused, her voice growing softer. "Gratitude doesn't make me want to fall asleep next to you every night for the rest of my life." Alex brought her hand to his lips and kissed it gently. "I've loved you for so long," he whispered. "Even back in college, I loved you. But I never imagined you could feel the same way." "Well," Maya said with a smile that lit up her whole face, "I guess we both have some catching up to do." That night, they talked until dawn about their feelings, their fears and their hopes for the future. And when Maya finally fell asleep, it wasn't on the couch or on the floor beside Alex's bed. It was curled up next to him, her head on his shoulder, finally understanding what it meant to be completely, peacefully, joyfully home. 3 months had passed since that rainy night when Maya had shown up at Alex's door, and the world looked completely different now. The small art supply store had become more than just a job. It had become a launching pad for her dreams. Mrs. Chen had started displaying some of Maya's paintings in the front window, and to everyone's surprise, people were buying them. Maya's art had transformed during these months of healing. Her earlier paintings had been dark and heavy, full of sharp angles and muted colors, but her new work was different, still deep and meaningful, but filled with light and hope and vibrant colors that seemed to dance off the canvas. She had painted the view from Alex's kitchen window at different times of day, capturing how the light changed from soft morning gold to rich evening amber. She had painted their coffee cups sitting side by side on the table, their hands intertwined while watching a movie, the way Alex looked when he was concentrating on his students' work. But it wasn't just her art that had changed. Maya herself was different now, stronger, more confident, more fully herself than she had ever been. She laughed easily, spoke her mind without fear, and had even reconnected with old friends who were amazed by the transformation they saw in her. Tonight was special, though. Maya had finally finished the painting she had been working on for weeks, a piece that captured everything she felt about this new chapter in her life. Alex was grading papers at his usual spot at the kitchen table, and Maya was putting the finishing touches on her canvas in the living room. "Alex?" she called out, stepping back to look at her completed work. "Yeah," he replied, not looking up from the essay he was reading. "Come here, I want to show you something." Alex set down his pen and walked over to where Maya was standing. When he saw the painting, he stopped breathing for a moment. It was a painting of their apartment, but not quite as it really looked. Maya had painted it the way it felt to her, warm and glowing, filled with golden light that seemed to come from everywhere at once. In the painting, two figures sat close together on the couch, not clearly defined but obviously content, obviously connected, obviously home. "Maya," Alex whispered, his voice full of wonder. "This is incredible. Do you know what I call it?" Maya asked, turning to look at him. Alex shook his head, still staring at the painting. "I call it the place where I found myself," Maya said softly. "Because that's what this is. This apartment, this time with you. It's where I remembered who I was and discovered who I could become." Alex pulled her into his arms, holding her close. "I love it," he said. "I love how you see things, how you turn ordinary moments into something magical." Maya leaned back to look at him. "That's because they are magical, Alex. We are magical. Not in some fairy tale way, but in the real way that happens when two people truly see each other and choose to build something beautiful together." They stood there for a while, holding each other and looking at the painting that captured their story. Outside, the city was settling into evening, but inside their little apartment, everything felt perfect and complete. Later that night, as they were getting ready for bed, Maya had an announcement to make. "I went to look at that studio apartment today," she said, sitting on the edge of the bed while Alex brushed his teeth. Alex paused, toothbrush halfway to his mouth. They had talked about the apartment several times over the past few weeks, but Maya had never actually gone to see it. "And?" Alex asked, trying to keep his voice neutral. Maya smiled, that bright smile that had become Alex's favorite thing in the world. "And I told the landlord I wasn't interested." Relief flooded Alex's face. "Really? Really?" Maya confirmed. "Because I realized that having the option to leave isn't the same thing as wanting to leave. I know I could make it on my own now. I know I'm strong enough and brave enough and capable enough to build a life independently, but I don't want to build a life independently." She stood up and moved closer to him. "I want to build a life with you, not because I need to, but because I choose to. There's a big difference." Alex reached for her hands. "Are you absolutely sure?" "I don't ever want you to feel like you settled for me because it was easy or convenient." Maya laughed, a sound full of joy and certainty. "Alex, loving you is many things, but convenient isn't one of them. You make me want to be braver, kinder, more creative, more honest. You challenge me to grow while accepting me exactly as I am. That's not settling. That's choosing the extraordinary." They climbed into bed together, a routine that had become as natural as breathing. Maya curled up against Alex's side, her head on his chest, listening to the steady rhythm of his heartbeat. "Alex," she whispered in the darkness, "do you remember that first night when I said only your warmth could calm me?" "I remember." Maya was quiet for a moment, thinking about how much had changed since then. "I understand now what I meant by that. It wasn't just about feeling safe or comfortable, though it was those things too." She shifted slightly so she could see his face in the dim light from the street lamp outside their window. "Your warmth isn't just physical," she continued. "It's emotional, it's spiritual, it's the warmth of being completely known and completely loved. It's the warmth of having someone believe in you even when you don't believe in yourself. It's the warmth of building something real and lasting with someone who sees your flaws and chooses you anyway." Alex stroked her hair gently. "You know what's funny?" he said. "I always thought I was just being a good friend that night. I had no idea I was helping you find your way home. Maybe that's what makes it so perfect, Maya replied. You weren't trying to fix me or change me or make me dependent on you. You were just being yourself. And somehow that was exactly what I needed to become myself again. They lay there in comfortable silence for a while, both thinking about the journey that had brought them to this moment. Outside the city never slept, but inside their little apartment everything was peaceful and still. Maya, Alex said softly, yeah? Thank you. For what? For trusting me with your healing. For letting me be part of your story. For choosing to build a life with me instead of just accepting whatever life happened to you. Maya smiled in the darkness. Thank you for showing me what love looks like when it's healthy and real and unconditional. Thank you for being patient while I figured out who I was. Thank you for making me feel like home. As they drifted off to sleep, wrapped in each other's arms and surrounded by the life they had built together, Maya realized that her story wasn't really about escaping from something bad. It was about running towards something beautiful. She had found her way to a love that was quiet and steady and true, a love that didn't demand she be perfect, but celebrated her as she was while encouraging her to grow. A love that felt like coming home to herself every single day. And in the morning, when she woke up next to Alex in the golden light streaming through their bedroom window, Maya knew with absolute certainty that this was just the beginning of their story together. They had found each other, they had found themselves, and they had found a love worth building a lifetime around. Good morning, Alex whispered, his voice still heavy with sleep. Good morning, Maya whispered back, and in those simple words was all the promise of all the good mornings yet to come.